quite a bit to talk about, obviously. WandaVision. Every time I think of the show is kind of moving towards the direction I think it's going to move towards, something else happens that throws things off. And I like that. I like the surprises here. We're back with my buddy Vaughn. There can be only Vaughn here, hanging out again on the stream. How you
What's
feeling,
going
my
on,
friend?
everyone? Pretty good, pretty good. Happy to be back. Thanks for having me again, Denny.
Oh yeah, of course. It's been a good week since our last fiesta talking about WandaVision. And we had a lot
Yeah,
of theories last week. A lot of theories. Some of them seem to have been confirmed. Other ones, not so much. We've been kind of all over the spectrum in some ways.
for
Uh,
sure.
but yeah, So let's kind of get things going with just a. I'm gonna ask you just a quick question about one character, and that is our boy Pietro.
As
Uh,
himself.
how are you feeling about Pietro? As a character in this return, do you think that he's the real boy, or do you think it's a facade?
No, no, somebody is clearly pretending to be Pietro, I think. And there's hints throughout the episode, and I'm sure we'll touch on it as we go along here, that kind of indicate that he's trying to, pull the wool over her eyes and make her believe that it really is him. But there's little tidbits here and there that I caught that kind of make it seem as if he's trying to interject all this stuff that he knows. I'm saying he, quote unquote, but whoever this other power is, what they know as watching everything from the sidelines sort of deal and picking apart like, oh, little details. Let me use this against Wanda.
Yeah, for sure. I do think that it seems to be someone that doesn't quite know Wanda quite as well in a way, because clearly she's surprised too by how he interacts with her. Almost like there's not a respect there in a way. Like he's just kind of doing his own thing, which is really kind of
Yeah,
different than all the other characters we see. That because it's Evan Peters, also, and I've seen him in a few different roles. It's interesting seeing him playing kind of laid back here. It's cool.
yeah, for sure.
So we see the walls kind of peel back a bit more, and the layers kind of peel back a bit more with Wanda in this episode as well. Um, and one thing I thought was interesting is that we're seeing more of what she can't control on top of what she can. And we also see the kids. Let's go kind of
All
with
the
the
kids.
the kids that we were just talking about last episode. Where are the kids? Um, and of course, Pietro had a funny line with that one too. We'll get into later on, but let's start off with our intro. As you can see, that's kind of like this big WandaVision ode to Malcolm in the Middle, which is a
Yeah, that was the
classic.
first thing that I said too. Was Malcolm? I was, trying to think of other of those late '90s, early 2000s sitcoms, but it was spot on. Just Malcolm, I think.
Yeah, it was clearly Malcolm in the Middle. At first, I thought I was like, is this maybe like My So-Called Life or something like that? But
Mhm.
then it went in the full like camera mode, and I was like, this is definitely Malcolm in the Middle with the indie rock playing in the background, really crazy. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
so some people were talking about like did they just skip over the '90s? But I think that because of Full House being kind of like in the last one and Family Ties running until like the '90s too, they kind
yeah.
of just segued those into the same slot. So yeah, Malcolm in the Middle was a nice surprise. I was thinking they might go with like Roseanne or something like that in the middle,
Mhm.
but this one was kind of cool.
I think Roseanne still kind of, fits in that Full House mode anyway. You know what I mean? So you want to catch like the late '90s because there was such a change in sitcoms then.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there was a big change, which I think is kind of like some meta for the show as well, with how they decide to make some of these changes.
Sure.
So yeah, let me pull up some of these images we can segue through. But that was a big start to the episode. Definitely had the same vibes, the same even like when they're walking down the stairs and stuff like that. It was all like Frankie Muniz vibes at the beginning. And we got basically the deadbeat brother who's literally dead popping up. And we get some interesting lines as well in the beginning of the episode. One of them I thought was really creepy. Is when Vision comes down in his Halloween outfit.
Oh, wearing those Rocky 3 shorts.
Yeah, those shorts were riding a little bit high there. Um, but Wanda, clearly says that she's happy that he decided to, get into the Halloween spirit. And Vision's like, well, you didn't really give me a choice. Look, I just this is the only thing in my closet. This is the only thing I had in my closet right now. So thanks for the passive aggressive nature there, Wanda.
Yeah.
So clearly the two are still fighting, and it's been it's been interesting to see. So they clearly are still butting heads here, but the kids have gotten a little bit older along the way. I'm glad you found your way in, Third Artifact. Welcome to the stream. Yeah,
What's going on?
Yeah, WandaVision is definitely worth talking about, I feel. So yeah, let's get to the kids, because I think it's pretty cool to see them together as well.
Wearing, mind you, at least Wiccan, Billy wearing his costume early on, and then Tommy changes into his too, and Pietro makes him look the same.
Yeah, which was a really nice touch. I really liked how they managed to pull that off without making it look too cheesy. It is Halloween, so
Right.
you can do a bit more of that. But yeah, so let's Wicked looking pretty snazzy overall. Got us a little headband. Wicked and Speed. So I wonder, some of the people I talked to earlier on in the earlier episodes, they were saying like how it seems like they're really playing up Vision's super speed, because they want to kind of make it seem like they're generating the children from the both of them in a way.
Okay. Yep.
Because they've got speed, and Wanda has her magic powers. But then you see Pietro, and it's kind of like maybe it's just a chip off the old block in a way. Just the genes are bouncing back again.
Sure.
So kind of interesting the play off of those two. So one big thing, before we get into more of the kid stuff in that part of the episode, was our interactions with Monica and the rest of the Scooby Gang at this point. And
the Scooby Gang.
I really love the three of them together. I think that they have some really cool chemistry going on right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And how they've been able to kind of work like a mystery on the outside. And the director, what's his name? I don't remember his name anymore. He's being really sketchy at this point in the show. I feel like he's definitely overstayed as well.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about his character? Do you think that he's telling the truth when he mentions, the event and what happened with the blip and that kind of stuff being the reason why he's so precautious when it comes to dealing with the superhero characters? Or you think it's just all a lie?
I mean, it could be one or the other, right? Or a combination of both. I think that when it comes to law enforcement and make it the comparison to General Ross, right? There's things that they can't control that they want to, because they're just normal humans, so they can't comprehend why certain individuals are taken upon in their own hands to be able to do what they do. And maybe a lot of people do blame the Avengers for it happening in the first place. And also, there's something going on there. There's still some more animosity between this director. Well, I don't know. I can't think of his name right now either. But him and Captain Marvel, because again, he brings up Captain Marvel and says like he knows about the history between the two of them, and it's as if nobody likes something. Carol has done something that's kind of gotten everyone against her and why she's not there. And it also kind of alludes back to some of the other films where people were asking about her or asking Fury, like, why don't you make the call? And he's hesitant to do it. So even Fury might have been like, you know what I mean?
That's true.
Something against Danvers or what she's done that we don't know. We have no idea.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good point. I mean, when we think about it, the MCU as a whole, um, we haven't really seen any kind of context for what she's been up to outside of like
mm,
showing up for the Avengers at one point. So there's definitely a chance that she may have had some issues along the way in the 2000s before the events of say Iron Man or something like that.
mhm.
We wouldn't even know until they actually do that in like a Captain Marvel 2 or something like that. So you got a good point.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
so yeah,
I was actually saying something about.
had to put this burn in, for Monica. You know, don't use the last 5 years as an excuse to be a coward, and then
Yeah.
everyone just goes, ooh, everyone just stops. Monica, she's a fiery character, but she also shows a bit of, and this is the thing that I think is interesting because it makes me wonder, like, how much are we going to get Wanda as a tragic character? Because she would look really villainous last episode in comparison, but
Yeah,
then
for
you get
sure.
this conversation with Wanda, in a way in which we got some chat after we find out about Wanda, and the way that her powers have manipulated Monica's powers in a
Mhm.
way, in her bloodstream, or you know what we're gonna call it. She's being rewritten at a molecular level, which is kind of crazy. So at
Right,
that
right.
point, Monica is still willing to risk it and go into the hex again, saying that she understand what Wanda's going through, and that's her reason for wanting to go back.
Mhm.
I feel like her saying that, obviously it makes her seemingly heroic, but I think it's interesting that we're not like just going straight into we got to figure out how to stop Wanda. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know what's gonna happen if she gets killed, obviously, but considering that she wasn't herself and what happened later on,
Mhm.
I think I'd have a little bit more hostility towards Wanda, considering
Sure, sure.
being mind controlled painfully for days. But yeah, it's interesting. Also, like the little action moment between them as well. The Scooby Gang beating up on soldiers, stealing guns, looking badass doing it. Pretty impressed
I
by
know.
the combos there.
I think it was funny. It was like Doc was like, "You didn't tell me you guys were gonna do that.
I you
Fill me
know
in."
I watched the scene again. I don't even think that Monica thought it was going to happen. I think
Oh yeah,
yeah, because look at the way that he just punches him, and she sees what's happening. She's like, okay, we doing this? Okay, cool. I'm in.
yeah,
Like
yeah. That
makes
is
an instant
true. That is
decision,
true.
which is pretty cool. Third Artifact says he feels like the director is going to be part of the next supervillain organization, and this is his backstory. I think I don't think it's necessarily a backstory situation. I think if he's going to be part of a villain organization, he's probably already part of that organization. It's probably already happened a long time ago. We have
Yeah, and
yeah, go ahead.
I can't remember where it was, but there was actually like a Hydra sighting somewhere in the episode. Somebody was reading off something. Oh no, it was Monica. There was in either the text or the message that she got from her third party said
Hmm.
like something Hydra. So is it somebody like that has Hydra equipment that's going to help them get into the hex, and why do they have it, sort of thing. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a chance someone might pop up with some interesting things. Speaking of popping up, since we're on that subject of her having a conversation with someone,
Who is it?
who do you think it is? I mean, I'm leaning into Blue Marvel even more now, but
Oh, Blue Marvel.
yeah, I think that Blue Marvel might be the
Oh
person, might be her
shit.
guy, because they did date in the comics as well.
Mhm.
And if you look at that, if you look at that image on the screen, he looks really happy about that text. I'm just saying, that's one of those, that's one of those, those smiles. Look at your phone, get that DM. She looks pretty.
So I'm gonna. That sounds a little. I didn't hear that theory at all, but that I can buy that for sure. I was gonna go way out of left field and just like drop the big hammer and just like go full out. It's Reed Richards.
Yo,
It's Reed Richards.
Reed would be really epic. Reed would be like, My only hesitance with Reed is like if you cast Reed and then have to have him sit for a while, it's like
Now you can just do you pull again, just pull the Hollywood magic and never show his face.
you know that's
Just see the
true.
back of this guy, and then you
That's
can
true.
cast him later.
You could just have like him typing or something, but that would
Yeah,
be such a. But Marvel doesn't really do that though. You know,
I mean
they're
that's
really
true.
coy
But
about really doing that kind of thing.
however,
That's
at the
something I
same
expect from
time,
Sony.
at the same time, and taking Agents of Shields out of the equation and some other TV properties, this is kind of the first big, like huge, like MCU tie-in that movie fans are clamoring to keep up with. So
Yeah,
maybe with the magic of TV and Disney, they might be adding different things that they didn't before.
that's true.
Who knows? But you're right. That's a good point too. Marvel doesn't really do a lot of that.
But I mean, if it's going to be Reed, I'd be interested to see how they kind of. My biggest conflict with the Fantastic Four right now is trying to decide if they're going to be in a situation where like they're made on the screen, or if we
Mm.
get backstory, and they're already who they are, and how do you explain where they've been the entire time? Like it's gonna be like a situation where they're
Yeah,
like in the negative zone, or like, like how do you? Because some people have said like maybe they're like be a team from like the '60s or something like that, and they disappeared for like 40 years or
they
something
could. I
weird.
mean, a lot of Fantastic Four stories are them traveling everywhere, interdimensionally, cosmically. They're always never around.
Yeah,
They show up to Baxter Street every so often just to say hi and check in, and then they're like off on their next adventure already.
that's true. I had to get this good shot of Quicksilver here with the hair, just doing whatever he's doing here. But he
Did
also
you?
brings up Wanda testing him, so that was definitely interesting. What were
Yeah,
you gonna
because
say?
you can tell that Wanda is questioning what's happening. Like, who is Pietro saying who he says he is? So she asked that question, and even earlier, him bringing up you remember when we did this for Halloween and the little flashback that she didn't recall at all. You
Yeah,
know,
that was so Malcolm in the Middle too. It was so ridiculous. But yeah, that was pretty cool. That was some pretty cool timing. And yeah, Wanda
there,
is definitely she's definitely going through it right now. You know,
yeah, there,
you got your dead brother showing up as someone else. He's acting like he knows you, but then some things just aren't quite adding up. And then I'm sure I'm sure especially twins of all things. Twins have such a strong connection that I imagine that like it's gotta feel weird to her to not have that connection, like that feeling with
yeah,
someone
yeah,
claiming
yeah.
that your brother is there, and he's saying stuff like, "Well, I mean, you brought me back, you know, you chose this look for me, not me," and, and just going along with it. And she's starting along. Did I really choose to bring you back? I wasn't expecting you to be here.
Yep, for sure. There's like a little Easter egg with the flashback too that was interesting. That young Pietro was wearing the eye patch, so people were like, "Oh, they look like Nick Fury and Natasha there," but
That's true.
that could have been the case because they would have had no idea who it was or anything like that. But maybe it was just a little Easter egg to throw in there.
Or maybe it's them. Maybe it's them messing with us again.
Yeah,
Maybe
that is
if
true.
it's Quicksilver, if this Quicksilver is aware of the Avengers,
Because
maybe he's
yeah,
distorted things.
Wanda is the one controlling the sitcom
Yeah.
altogether, so it could have been something that she just threw in there.
Well, it's funny that you
Good
should
point.
mention that because we're gonna get to that point next year, and that is when Wanda and Pietro have a nice little chat later on in the episode, and Pietro asks her to be honest with him about the situation and asked her, how'd you get this thing rolling? Which is something kind of interesting to ask someone if you really had all the info already.
Hmm.
And she answers that she doesn't remember doing any of this.
Right.
She just remembers feeling extremely alone, and like the image says, endless nothingness. And then these things start happening. So That's what makes me lean back into the idea that Wanda is being manipulated by someone else in some way. They're taking advantage of her grief and using that in a way that is forcing her to reach new power levels in a way.
He said that too to her too. The grief line. I'm here to like feed on your grief or something like that.
Yeah, like you brought me here because you needed me, and that's what makes it interesting for me right now. Because at the end of last episode, I felt like maybe I was wrong about there being more than just Wanda. She's looking really evil villainy. But now in this episode, having that little chat, I'm starting to lean more towards someone else is causing Wanda to really freak out in a way that forces her to kind of push her emotional trauma, which is tied to her powers, into higher levels, so that she starts doing more ridiculous stuff slowly but surely. Because if you look at how things go down, which we'll get into in a moment here, but we're gonna take a little segue to talk about Vision.
Sure.
Yo, what's up, Deacon? Welcome to the stream. Girl, are you in danger? Yeah, that's basically what's happening. Something's happened to Wanda. I think that's beyond what we're getting on our end. And I want to just take a quick shot before we switch over to what Vision's been up to at Dead Pietro here, because that was a they keep throwing in these dead shots, and it's making it seem more and more like this would be something that someone who controls the souls of others would do to freak her out. And I'm like, man, this is feeling really Mephisto-y. Just saying.
There's a lot of Mephisto like Easter eggs thrown in here too. Not even this part, but bringing up the people being dead line again several times.
Yeah.
And just brings back to the kid saying, hey, you can bring people back from the dead. So is everyone in that town dead, and then Wanda resurrected everyone's souls? Because Agnes brought it up. You see Pietro looking dead there. Night of the Living Dead is playing in the background while they're sitting there. So it's all little Easter eggs, and one of the big ones too is early when they first go trick-or-treating, Mephisto just releases them and he says, run my like hell spawn or something like that.
Yeah, he says run my demon spawn.
Demon spawn, yeah. And the two demon spawns that spawned from Mephisto were who? Tommy and Billy.
What if Evan Peters' character is Mephisto? What if they're doing the long game on us, and Quicksilver is just Mephisto the entire time, toying with Wanda?
Could be because Wanda never even saw what happened to Pietro. So showing the exact moment when Pietro died in Age of Ultron, the bullet wounds and everything, like Wanda never seen that.
No, that's a good point. How would she know exactly where the bullet wounds are?
Yeah,
and be able to put that in
more
to
so
her
somebody
show.
That saw that, like I said earlier, hearkened to earlier, as a outsider looking in and taking these facts and be like, okay, I can use this, and then she's never going to realize,
It's true, but it's almost like they do it in a way to annoy her. Like Quicksilver is annoying. He's like the older brother in Malcolm in the Middle. He's just being an asshole like for majority of the time. Yo, what's up, Anuki?
How you doing, Anu?
So Deacon says your thoughts are you cannot give Wanda an excuse for doing anything for what she's doing right now. Well, we don't know. We're not necessarily giving her an excuse. It's more so we don't know if it's just her or not. We don't know if it's a situation where she's being manipulated in a way that is still bad, but clearly Wanda's had a break to the point in which even the other townspeople, like Herb, earlier in the Halloween set, he's like, "Yeah, I'm doing some neighborhood watch," and he asked Wanda, like, "Do you want me to change things up or they've been so conditioned at this point in the town that they just play along with it. So clearly, Wanda has some serious control. And Pietro mentions how she managed to keep couples together, families together inside of the hex. So she's showing some humanity there, but it's still terrible. It also brings context to the first episode, with the husband and wife, the boss and his wife, and him choking in that scene.
Mm.
That's her real husband there who's dying, which is why she kind of freaked out and broke free from the hex for a moment because it was so traumatizing. And I don't know if Wanda really knew what was going on either. That's the tricky part. Did she make him choke on purpose in a way, or did he choke by accident because she wasn't used to having to control people to the point and telling them how to swallow, and
Right.
it went off script and she was surprised by what happened as well, and then flipped it back to normal again. So there's some cool stuff there, some cool subtlety. Um, Didn't they recover Pietro's body? At least I'm sure they did, but um, I don't know where. I don't know what Wanda's situation was. There's been so much time. To be honest with you, the follow up after Age of Ultron was pretty sloppy. So I don't really know
Mm.
like if we can really use that kind of context without them actually saying it in the show of whether she saw his body at some point before like a funeral or something like that.
Right. I think there's from Age of Ultron into what Infinity War about Vision and Scarlet and Vision hiding. Like maybe she in that time period they were away just started super getting into sitcoms or something. Maybe she got that idea from there and started acting that way and figuring that's how she wanted to live her life. So then when she recovered Vision's body, that was the first go-to thing to create this WandaVision, you know,
Yeah, that's true.
whatever it is.
That could be a theory that works.
And why she probably adopts like more of a English accent because they brought it up too. What happened to your accent? What happened to yours?
Yeah, exactly. Like what happened in yours. It's interesting seeing like where things are getting pulled from.
Mm.
Let's just take a little moment here. So you brought up Vision in this body. Let's segue over to some of what was happening with Vision on the other side of town, where it got really creepy really quickly. So Vision takes a little detour, while
On
the rest of
purpose,
this,
mind you.
yeah, on
He lied
purpose. He lied. He lied to Wanda. And he took a little detour away from the rest of the town towards Ellis Street to go see what's going on. And he finds some interesting things there. A portion of the town looks like it's kind of on a freeze mode. It's kind of on, it's kind of on power saver mode. Folks aren't quite doing what you would expect them to do. They're frozen in time. The kids are in Halloween costumes but aren't really moving. He's just wandering through town, trying to figure out what's happening. Really
Mm.
creepy stuff, right? So
Yeah.
what do you think about do you think that it's a situation where because I know when the last episode when I talked to you about it, I felt like Wanda was just letting people live their lives in a way free for a certain period of time when she didn't have her mind set on them anymore,
Mhm.
and then they would snap back into it when she's ready to use them. But here it seems like they're just not doing anything. They're just frozen and waiting for whatever role they have to play later on, which is really weird, especially since we see the kids back, and the kids are also stuck there. Are they real
Mhm.
kids? Is she really that effed up that she's taking kids under control and she's just having them stand there perpetually at the edge of town?
Yeah, it all harkens back to harvesting souls with Mephisto. So that's why the play of like, hey, is everyone in the town actually dead? And somebody has control of their souls to be able to walk around or whatever. Because it's been hinted at a few times. Again, Agnes brings it up, and we'll discuss that. It almost got brought up in what episode 2 or 3 as the babies are being born, and Vision was outside talking to Agnes and what's his name? They almost said it too, like, "Hey, we're dead," but she like kind of stopped them from saying that. So I think it's just Wanda in their vicinity of whatever's around Vision. Hey, I can run all this to make it seem like the town is lively and whatnot. But whenever they're not in view, quote unquote, yeah, I'm not controlling them. Maybe it's too much for her to control the entire town. And with that many kids running around, where they are Pietro, the kids, and Wanda, she doesn't need to control anything outside of that purview.
That's true. I mean,
Herbert,
this is Vaughn's big theory here. Vaughn is saying that he thinks that the town is full of dead people, and they're being controlled now by either someone else who's more powerful or helping Wanda along the way to keep their dead corpses, in line for the facade, which is interesting. Now, who do you think killed him?
I'm not necessarily saying that they're dead. Just keeping in mind that there's been a lot of references, and with the Night of the Living Dead playing in the background,
Okay.
you got that. There's the tie-in. That's it. And there could be any other tie-in too. Maybe whoever produced the episode likes that movie. Who knows?
But that would be, that would be prime horror flick right there. If something caused those town people to all die in the town, and they've been dead this entire time, but no one outside of town knows. And Wanda is being used to manipulate their bodies basically in the meantime. That would be some crazy stuff, but the mind gem is strong.
It is, yeah. Right.
The snap is a good point. But then at the same time though, the town itself, this hasn't happened until Wanda comes back, because remember that Wanda was snapped too.
Right.
So if it's a situation where like the people in the town that were snapped that came back were controlled, maybe. I mean, it has been 5 years, so if there was like two sets of townspeople, the people before the 5 year snap and the people that are back after the snap, maybe, because you can have people that move into a town. 5 years is a long time. So if someone were able to manipulate that period of time when that life is brought back and take those people under their control in the meantime, that'd be some interesting stuff. Not a whole people could do that though.
Right.
Let me catch up on the chat, see what you guys are saying. The distance between real Wanda and sitcom Wanda. Yeah, there's a lot of like flipping back and forth. Like it's really quick too. Wanda will snap in and out of her own kind of world. Like at one point when she's talking to Vision, and she's telling him that you're gonna fall in line basically. Like you're gonna get into this too if you know what's good for you. And Vision's like, you don't control me, but can I though? So Deacon says that she thinks that they aren't real kids. The kids aren't real. It's all in their mind, and they're giving some leads on what's going to happen next. I mean, that could be true. We've been trying to figure out how the children play into things, because everything we've seen Wanda manipulate so far has involved other matter or material. So if she's not pulling the children from actual children, they have to be coming from somewhere. And the big kind of red herring is that we have both Wiccan and Speed, both twins. Where are they coming from? She can't like just pull babies into her womb and then have birth, from ones that already exist. So that doesn't work that way, even in magic. So I think that's going to be the big reveal, is that something's controlling how that works and where she's pulling that from. And again, we've all been leaning towards Mephisto in that regard. Maybe it'll be something different. I think having Blue Marvel or someone else showing up, whoever's Monica showing up and talking to you at some point, is going to be helping get that kind of understood more. Because we can segue a little bit more into what the team found as well about Mr. Director guy and how he's been tracking Vision through the Hex, thanks to the vibranium deterioration, radiation, and stuff like that. That's coming through.
Yeah.
And why is he tracking Vision? You know, why is that a thing? If the threat is Wanda, why are you going after Vision in this regard when they're nowhere near each other? And you're
Well,
meeting
at the
away
end of
from the base on your own, basically. For what? What
I
do you
think
think?
for whatever reason that they were experimenting him on, and why Wanda broke him out. Because remember, he was in like 8 different parts. What were they doing to Vision? What is Sword building or trying to establish? You know, so maybe because obviously Vision is their asset, their property at this point in time. They're paying more attention to him in that regard.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I think there could have been a chance that they did something in the Vision, but we did see the footage of his body in pieces when she broke in.
Yep.
So I mean, they could have been trying to pull resources from him, but I don't think they would have time to have planted something in what they were doing for that to
Hmm.
work. Unless there's a shadow organization involved and, you know, like an aim or something ridiculous.
Could be, or whatever General Ross is doing.
Yeah, Ross is probably busy uh, working on a Thunderbolts team. But yeah, I think that's making me kind of curious as to why he was there and why they had that portion of the team going to that part of the hex. Trying to, it seemed like they were doing things without telling the rest of the camp what they were up to
Right.
on that side of the hex. So clearly, there's something else going on. It went off the record with Vision. He's been hiding away from everyone else. And let's get to Vision. Let's get to what he was up to after he passed the creepy, frozen children. He decides to try and, head down the road, and he sees a familiar car, not moving and going anywhere. And who was in that car? It's good old Agnes. Agnes just hanging out. And this is one of the biggest scenes in the episode. When I saw this scene originally in like the preview for like the teaser,
Hmm.
I was like, man, what's gonna happen here? We're gonna get like some bombs dropped. Will she like drop the facade and then like go ham on Vision or something? Will she just tell him the truth?
Well, no, there's two things if you pay close attention to that I kept in mind. Is one, when he touched her and she became herself, she was still calling herself Agnes.
Yeah.
So it's not this character that she's playing within the sitcom. She's still Agnes. And then the big thing is, as soon as she gasped, the first thing that she went to was to clutch her chest. What's missing from her chest?
Mm,
She had a medallion around her, a necklace around her that you can see in every single episode that's suddenly not there, but you see Quicksilver around and suddenly in the picture. So
no, that's true.
is that something to pay attention to? Are they? And we alluded to this last week when we were talking in the spoiler cast. Is Agnes in fact working with Mephisto or not?
That's true.
Or excuse me, we keep saying Mephisto like it's 100% fact. We don't know
We
that.
don't know that. Yeah, it could be something completely different.
Yeah.
And so this conversation was interesting for a few different reasons. Obviously, I don't know if she was trying to escape the town before Wanda just zapped her.
Hmm.
But as you can see in the image, Wanda won't even let them think about leaving. It's not even an option for them. Even the doctor at episode 3, uh, talking about trying to take a trip to the Bermuda. It's never going to happen because no one leaves this
Right.
town.
Right.
Uh,
I can't. I'm trying to think of another pop culture reference for a movie or something where people try to do something and when they think about it, they just all of a sudden forget and then go back to doing something else. I can't remember, but maybe that's obviously what happened to her, where she just couldn't remember. She was at the edge of the street. But at the same time, that distance away from 1 to 2, maybe if somebody tries to get away, they completely stop too, and they become, you
Oh,
know,
that's true. You know, that makes it even creepier because then if the parents, like the mom and her kids that were like frozen, if she was trying to run away with her children and couldn't and got
mhm.
stopped, that's pretty messed up, Wanda. Um, so there's some more good stuff in that conversation, and then we'll take on chat. So there's this scene here in which Agnes mentions, "Oh, you're one of the Avengers," and the way she says it makes it seem like she has not seen Vision this entire time. Like she's so surprised that it's Vision that I'm like, is Wanda obscuring these interactions in a way that they're not even aware of, like the other part in the role they play? Because Agnes has been in every scene, every episode at this point.
Right, right.
So for her to like snap out of it and wow, it's Vision. You're one of the Avengers. Like you've been hanging out with Vision and babysitting their kids and all this other crazy stuff this
Yeah,
entire time. So like, is it memory wiped, or is it a situation where like I don't know? This part was a little bit weird to me. I expected her to know both Vision and Wanda, and to like, because other people in the town they play along now. They're like, "Oh, what's up, Wanda? You know, you want me to go through this line again? Cool, you know."
yeah. Harley
But
did the same thing too.
with Agnes here, it's not really happening that way. At least in this scene.
Right. It could be what um the Pietro thing again, where Pietro is like trying to take facts that they think that they don't know and use it against them, and maybe she's Agnes is doing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that could be true. And then you get Vision's reply, you know, but what's an Avenger? Which lets you know, like, just the context here for Vision right now. He is so lost and confused. All right, he wakes up. Wanda is telling him that they love each other, and he's her husband. They have children. He has no life or any kind of understanding outside of, which means he doesn't even know who Tony is, which is wild,
Hmm. Hmm.
or any of that origin. Uh, let's catch up on chat real quick before we move on. So Anuki says the project's plan is named Cataract. Project Cataract. Okay, nice catch there, Anuki. A cataract obfuscates vision. That is a really nice play on words there. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, a cataract does in fact block your vision. So that project name, interesting, interesting. So Wanda has an AOE effect, basically. Um, Literal in action and project concept. Yeah, it's just some good stuff. I see you. Pietro was reading her. Yeah, I mean, Pietro was reading her, but we're not sure why he's trying to manipulate her right now. All we know
Hey,
for sure is that.
one sec.
Oh yeah, sure. But all we know is that for the situation that Pietro seems to be trying to antagonize her on purpose. It seems like it's not like it's just. At first, I thought he was trying to get on her side, but then it seems like he's being more than an obnoxious brother. Like he's trying to antagonize her. It seems to a certain extent, which is weird. Pissing off someone who's very powerful seems very strange to me, especially if he just showed up. But maybe it's just me. So yeah, he frees Agnes. She starts freaking out. Uh, puts her back in the simulation basically,
Hmm.
and she quickly turns around and drives back into town, like nothing happened. Hey, what's up, Newzoo? Where are we? We're moving through to the scene where Vision is trying to escape the hex. That's the
Or
next
just
step.
more so figuring out what's going on.
Yeah, he realizes that there's something wrong here, and he wants to help the people in the town. He sees clearly that Wanda's lost control of something.
He knows about, obviously, it was talked about behind context because we don't know when they did it, but the kids
Hmm.
know not to go past Ellis Street. So obviously, Vision was told that too. So that's why he was there and knows, like, all right, let's check out why this is a thing, why we've been told not to go to Ellis Street or past Ellis Street.
And you also see Vision able to like use supposedly the Mind Stone to transform himself back into himself without the goofy Halloween costume on, and he literally flies above the town at one point in the episode as well. So we get him trying to cross outside of the hex, and the hex in the town really does not like that at all. Is already pulling him back in, which is different than everyone else we've seen leaving the hex at this point,
Right.
or being transformed or moderated by it. It's
The other two, anyway, right?
yeah, and he's slowly being pulled apart. Uh, and this is an interesting part to me because I'm like, is it a situation where whatever brought him back is tied to the town only, and that energy can only be maintained inside a town, regardless of whatever Wanda's manipulating? Um, or is it a situation where there's just not enough Vision material to keep that manifested outside of the town,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what's powering it? Because it looks a bit different than the dead Vision that we see in the earlier episode when Wanda sees his face. It's not like he just transformed back into the crater hole, Thanos Vision. It's more like something's kind of pulling him apart, and you can't really tell if it's even a full body there by the end, which is really, really strange. And this is the part where I'm like, he could be a construct. There might not be an actual Vision there, outside of like just like bits and pieces of whatever's left of him. But how do you get that kind of sentience and free will?
That's what I was going to say. The free will portion of it is what's interesting. Why him out of everyone else?
Yeah, that's the part where we're like, he's able to defy Wanda. Wanda, also keep in mind that Wanda does not know where he is. She had to rely on Wiccan to try and tell her what's going
Yeah,
on
his
with Vision.
powers all of a sudden manifesting.
Yeah. So there's clearly some actors, there's some players moving around inside of Wanda's fake world right now that aren't playing by the rules. We know that Vision is one. We know that Pietro is one. We know the kids just do whatever they want because they just grow, age up a couple years instantly without her consent. Just They just do it. But yes, I included the image of Vision here because it's not even like his full on corpse is left. It's kind of like a mixture of like just matter and then some bits and pieces of whatever that body was before he gets swept into the hex again. All right, let's see what the chat was saying. Yes, he did. Again, I think this is still a great soap opera. Yeah, there's definitely some soap opera elements to it. I think there's some telenovela sides to this show. I can agree with that. Welcome in, Nuzu. Appreciate you stopping by. Well, the kids also have free will and Pietro. Yeah, but the thing is that we don't know where either of them came from. That's the main mystery we have left here. We don't know where Pietro came from. We don't know where the children came from because they're not being made out of the same material as everyone else, obviously. We don't know how Vision came back to life with any kind of full control or information beyond what Wanda told him. And he's kind of like, he's just wandering around like a child almost. Like, Wanda's going. I'm gonna find my way out here and
Right.
figure out what's going on. Like the core Vision knows to do the right thing and knows that these people need help, right? But all the other information outside that core is gone.
And then Wanda's just so obsessed with living out her fantasy that she's going to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, that's true.
With in regard to whatever whoever is manipulating the entire thing to begin with. I don't think her and Deacon touched on her powers waning. I don't think her powers are waning at all. Clearly, after what she did at the end of this episode, it's just that she's. I think whoever else is running the show is starting to show their colors now to keep her more so in check again, because it's not that her powers are being lost; it's that like Vision's starting to ask too many questions.
Yeah. And she's confused too because she can't even answer some of those questions herself. Like,
Right.
she doesn't know exactly how she ended up here from what it sounds like. She just knows that she has the ability to make it. It seems like this town was almost set up for her, and she's maintaining it because it's showing her what she wanted to see, and she's just going along with it at this point. I'm starting to think that Wanda is like, she's an actor in the same play as everyone else. She's keeping up with the facade because it's been shown to her first. Like, you want the perfect life with your husband, you know?
Yeah. I think that, again, they used that against Wanda to be like, hey, I can bring your husband back and you guys can live happily ever after. Maybe that was the deal that she made because Mephisto makes deals. That's what he does.
Yeah. What if she decided? What if part of the deal she asked for them to make sure that she can't remember what happened?
Maybe, yeah.
She has knowledge of what happened with Endgame and stuff like that. But what if she wanted to not know that she made that deal? She just wanted to live in that reality of it being the truth. In that situation, you would try everything to make sure it doesn't fall apart because you don't know how it started in the first place. You don't know if there's any do overs. You don't know if there's any opportunity to go back and change it again. So pretty much, this is like you're getting a second chance, and since you have no memory of that happening at all, if it ends, it might be over. You know, it would make Wanda extremely scared of this world being taken from her to the point in which she do the things she does now in each episode. Let's see what the chat's saying. What's interesting in this episode is when Wanda freezes everything around her before expanding the hex. Her kids are the only ones that remain unfrozen, and Pietro suddenly has completely disappeared from where he should have been after blasted. Yeah, we're gonna have to see what's happening in that fallout because we don't know what's happening inside the hex when she starts expanding it. It honestly happened so fast for me that I couldn't even see what happened to the kids. I was like, I know she didn't kill them, obviously, but man, the explosion was like, it was kind of crazy. But we're gonna get to that in a second. Also, Deacon says, I should have said it better. She is distracted, so she can't handle putting up. Yeah, I mean, clearly Wanda's losing control of what's happening to a certain extent. She can't keep up with all these lives on top of Pietro nagging her, basically just being an asshole, just annoying the hell out of her on the side. Her children doing whatever the hell they want, discovering their powers out of nowhere. You got the soldiers who might still be spying on her and trying to get inside the hex. There's a lot of things going on for Wanda. She's juggling a lot right now. Big mom vibes. It's basically her day job at this point when she's not chilling with Vision. But yeah, you hate to be Vision. He looks like he's gonna die in the third time in this universe. Yeah, it's rough for Vision right now, man. He's on both ends having a bad time. You get sold this dream and then it falls apart, and then you find out that the person that's telling you that they love you is probably hurting people against their will. It's tough. He got the 2-for-1 special in Infinity War. Yeah, 2 deaths. It's rough. gonna beat Loki in his records for most deaths to resurrection. So I think that I think I had Loki timed out in chat because I was playing God of War. and
Oh yeah, for
I
the
didn't want and I didn't
spoilers.
want people to
Yeah.
spoil the game
When
originally.
I first played God of War, it was like 8 months after the fact because I was in school in 2018 when it came out, and within the first hour, somebody was like mentioned that, and I was like, oh no, maybe, but I don't think it is. And then lo and behold,
Yeah,
like
and spoilers be real. So let's move into Wanda and Vision obviously is dying. We get Wiccan basically his power is time now. He can hear Vision in his head, and he tells Wanda that Vision's in trouble.
mm,
And Wanda, asks him what's going on because again she can't tell where he is. And he says it's the soldiers. The soldiers are doing something to Vision. They think he's gonna die. And you see like the switch happening with Wanda so quick. Everything shuts down. It's like it's pretty cool scene. I can't lie. The
yep,
power levels and the scale that we see in this one scene is like, okay, Wanda's not playing around.
yeah.
We saw what happened with
So,
the soldiers. That was just a little tease.
dude, I was so mad that they got away.
Yo, that would have been
Hoping
yeah.
they got that truck, man, or that, yeah,
So Wanda's like, you know what? Stop the game. I'm alt tabbing out. Everyone's frozen, and we're going ham. So we get some interesting transformations too in this scene. Uh, as the hex expands, we get the rest of the soldier guys getting transformed into clowns, and the entire base getting turned into a circus. Wanda's got a nice sense of humor. I'm not gonna lie. Uh,
want
and
to know what
about
happened to Lewis.
yeah, yeah. We also get the transformation of the sign, which I thought was kind of interesting too. Like we're actually pushed beyond the original limits of where the show started. When you first see Monica and our boy Randall hanging out, they were just hanging out outside, chilling,
Right, right.
and the sign changes to the Westview home is where you make it, which is pretty cool. Deacon says Vision is dead, and there's a crux of the matter that Vision is dead now, and he at least knows how. Well, I mean, we know that Vision died. We know for a fact that Vision died. We know that happened. All right, he did. He died. The main thing is that we're following Vision in a way that he's not a construct that's made by Wanda, that's being controlled by her, and part of the facade. He's not part of the simulation in that way. Now, someone could have brought Vision back for Wanda. That's totally possible. In which case, he would have his own free will in a way, if given that. But we know we know either someone's controlling Vision's essence in a way that is bringing him back with full sentience, or he's legitimately alive again. We don't know what's causing that kind of power. That's the big mystery of the show. Between that and things like the children, Pietro, more doors opening up with 3 episodes left in the in the season. We have more confusion and more questions that need answers, which is yeah. So and Darcy, man, I feel bad for Darcy, man. Darcy was just trying to hang out and help her buddy Vision, who was literally dying in front of her, gets handcuffed by the assholes who escape and leave her behind. And we don't really see what happens to her like all the other people that transform. We
Yeah.
saw you saw other ones turning into clowns and all that other stuff, but we don't see what happened to her. We didn't see. I think I'm sure that's on purpose. They're trying to make sure that there's some suspense for next episode.
Yeah, maybe, and then maybe there's gonna be a connection from her to Monica or something. Like, who knows? Maybe Wanda knows that she's been working with Rambo or not.
Yeah,
We
I
don't know
think.
that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that clearly, since Monica and the rest of them have escaped, I think that they're going to be calling her friend in to explore what's happening. But I don't think that Darcy is going to be hurt necessarily in this exchange. I think that she might be used
Mhm.
as a pawn by Wanda. Like, hey, if you mess with us like this, I have one of yours here now. Leave us alone. I'm not going to warn you again.
Right.
Or Darcy's going to turn into something you don't like. Or maybe it's rough because there's only 3 episodes left. I was gonna say, like, what if they like use Darcy? What if one that uses Darcy as like a sleeper agent,
Mm-hmm.
and then sends her out there to get more intel? That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, Hayward. I stuck with the names of him too because he's just such a douche. I,
Yeah.
I don't want to remember his name.
Terrorist.
Deacon says there'll probably be a season 2. I don't think so. Season 1, the way that Marvel shows are working right now, they're more like expansions of the universe as a TV show.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a WandaVision season 2. It would be whatever the next iteration of these two are. You
Yeah.
know.
So it's more like each situation in television format. So we got Falcon and Winter Soldier. Say they finish up that. It might be probably the only show I can see maybe getting the second season in some kind of way because it doesn't seem like it's necessarily tied to a particular event. It's more of like them figuring out how to be their new version of their characters. But yeah, we're definitely gonna get continuation of whatever happens here in Doctor Strange 2. It's already been confirmed because Wanda's showing up. So I mean, I guess you can call it a spoiler, but I mean, she's not gonna die here. Like, she's already cast in filming Doctor Strange 2. So good or bad, she's showing up in that film in some way, at some point.
There was a couple of people trying to tie in the mom tattoo on Pietro's shoulder, even though that's just like Evan Peters just has that tattoo on his arm, so it's just there. But people were like, "Oh, MOM is was it Multitude of Madness or Multiverse of Madness or whatever?"
Yeah,
Like,
that sounds like that's a bit of a stretch. Like,
yeah, I was like,
I mean, it
"All
is
right,
cool
guys."
though. I mean, MOM being mom is kind of cool though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool as far as like foreshadowing.
Mm.
As far as like being tied to the show or the tattoo, no, I'm not speculating that far, that deep down the rabbit hole. This time
So,
around,
it's just people looking at every single little detail. If
yeah,
they're showing it on camera, there's a reason it's there, sort of deal. But that one's stretching it a little bit.
yeah, that one's a bit of a stretch. But I mean, they have been pulling a lot of different things in. Now, for me, I think I don't quite get the commercial that aired during the episode.
Mhm.
I almost forgot about that part. I'm gonna just put up a short screen cap of it. It made me really want a Capri Sun, but
Hey, it looks like Deacon's heading out. Appreciate you joining in with us.
thanks for hanging out, Deacon. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I didn't get the tie-in, if there was one, or if it's just Wanda just losing control of what's going on, and she can't get the full effect anymore on these commercials even.
Again, the interesting tidbit here is just showing that this kid, this child died, right? So that just only for me kind of hints to the theory of like all the children are all dead, you
Yeah.
know. She's controlling them. So I don't know, but this commercial was pretty morbid. I was like, damn, he couldn't put the yogurt open.
Yeah, death by starvation with a full yogurt rated right there. A hot ass yogurt in the sun.
Probably spoiled the shit.
Yeah, that's rough. But yeah, I gotta look and see if anyone else found any other tie-ins here. from the commercial particularly, but it just seemed like it's just Wanda's mental kind of not holding up very well. Uh, even the commercials are breaking down a little bit.
Mm.
All right, so we made it through the episode recap. I mean, Wanda's power levels out of control. The city limits have expanded in like crazy levels. She's going like I don't know, like 10 miles per hour right now, just expanding the hell out of the hex to the point in which I was surprised at how far it was going. I was like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. The city limit's going to actually expand, and then the borders will stretch. But she was keeping up with the car. The car is going like 60, like going at least 60 miles per hour, and she's keeping
Yeah.
up with it. It was crazy.
Yeah. So who knows what the radius is now? But she got their entire base of operations that they set up.
Yeah, all of it's gone.
Has the trailer for episode 7 pop already?
I actually haven't checked for the promo yet. I think they probably have
Um,
put it though. There's still stuff from the last teaser that wasn't shown either. There's still Wanda bursting through the glass in some kind of base that was shown in one of the teasers. There's still some cuts of her in like a Modern Family situation.
oh, right, where they're talking to the camera on the couch or whatever.
Yeah, so there's still those two.
And then the vehicle, whoever Rambo's point of contact is, like them trying to get back into the hex, crashing into it.
Yeah, so like those are definitely some big things to look out for. I'm really thinking that something is really trying to force Wanda's trauma to the forefront to the point in which she expands her power levels and it makes her do these things in the way that she is. Because every single time that something happens in a way that changes the overall scope of the show, it's always caused by Wanda not being able to control something. She can't control the situation with Vision, so she freaks out, and suddenly we're expanding.
Right.
You know, what happens if something freaks her out to the point in which she expands indefinitely? And everything is pulled into the hex. What if someone wants to use Wanda in that way as, basically a funnel for mind control, and they can just feed in what they want Wanda to do?
Mind control? Mind controllers? Was that a...
Yeah.
Little...
A little sly reference there, Well, yeah, I think that would be interesting because if it was a character that wanted to manipulate, people on a wider scale, and Juan doesn't care about what's happening to these people,
Not at all. Not at all.
you could use Juan as a way to do that, and then maybe feast on their souls. I don't know. That could be the opportunity. Just get them together. I do think that your theory about the children, I think it would be extremely morbid, but I think it also, seeing how the show is going so far, I think that they're not really holding back anymore.
No, yeah, and if you're going to introduce, again, we don't know, but if you're going to introduce a character like Mephisto, like, it's going to go down in that direction. Has to.
Yeah, I think that's true, especially since, at least in my opinion, Marvel needs a few surprises right now. I think that aren't going to be the status quo. Things that kind of like make you think more about where they can go with this kind of content. Because, obviously Loki, a lot of stuff can happen in Loki, but you've got Falcon Winter Soldier, you've got Black Widow, two pretty straightforward experiences, I feel like.
Okay, yeah.
And then you've got Shang-Chi, which you might get a little bit of mystical stuff going on there. And then Spider-Man, which is going to be all over the place.
You also have this, though. I'm going to do a little segue here, because you forgot to mention this. Eternals as well is something that you got to pay attention to. So speculation abound for that and how they're going to play into everything. I think more so with the cosmic stuff with Thanos, and Thanos is gone, but Guardians of the Galaxy.
They might not be going at the point of the movie. Maybe it is a little flashbacking
Well, that is true. That is true.
back to a younger Thanos being a dick. But yeah, Eternals I'm actually really excited for because it seems like it's gonna be a lot different from everything else we've seen in the MCU as well. And I really
Yep.
think
Yep.
that it's smart for Marvel right now to start taking more chances on things that are, stretching out the genre. I'm sure they get tired of, the critics and the film snobs who are like, oh, these superhero movies are ruining Hollywood. I'm tired of these comic book movies and their same generic formats.
Uh huh.
And it's like, I can understand that, you get annoyed by the Avengers doing billions of dollars and like your indie film, about an elephant isn't doing that well. But
Whatever.
but like I think that them bringing in creative directors and like having them actually commit to different visions of their story in a way that expands that universe creatively is good. It gets more people actually involved, and it gets more people actually wanting to take on a project than just the Russos because they're just racking them up.
Absolutely. Yep.
Who I've heard are apparently attached to the Hercules remake now. Um,
Oh, are they?
yeah, so they're gonna be pretty busy for a while.
Well, because the last live action Hercules movie we got wasn't very good.
You weren't a fan of The Rock, and
He did his thing.
his
The
long
Rock is always
locks.
going to be The Rock, but he can't always save every single movie.
Yeah, that's true. The box office is real. All right, so that was a good rundown. I mean, you got anything else you want to add? Any other theories? What are you looking forward to or hoping to see next week? I know you
You
mentioned Reed
know,
Richards earlier, but
I what was fascinating about our discussion was you mentioning Blue Marvel. Like that didn't cross my mind at all. So that was very interesting to think that maybe it is a love interest with her being so giddy and smiling about getting that information. So I just want to know. I even said it in my Discord spoiler chat room. Like, who is the third party? I want to know who this is now. I thought there was only 2 episodes left. If there's 3 episodes left, that's great. There's still a lot more time to figure out what's happening. And I think somebody also mentioned in chat just a while ago when she went all full blast and expanded the hex. Pietro was gone. So
yeah,
what's the play there too?
yeah. This is a situation where you've got some moving pieces. There's some that still aren't figured out. Um, they put importance on Agnes still, but she's not really leading us down any path that gives us any more information about her.
Mm.
Um, Vision, that situation, we're gonna see what happens to him when he wakes up, because
Right, exactly. Is Wanda gonna have him locked up or like question him a certain way or who knows? Or
yeah,
she gonna
because
pretend like nothing ever happened?
well, we know that he was outside of her scope, so maybe he'll lie to her and say he was captured. You know, I
True.
don't know what she's. It's almost like she knows that um, he can't do anything as
Yeah.
far as leaving the
Yeah.
town. Maybe she knows that he's tied to the town. He's like can't really go anywhere. That's why she's not really getting that upset with him when they
Mm.
have confrontations because she
Mm.
knows he can't go anywhere. you know, which would be interesting. We still don't know what's going on with the witness protection person either.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, you're right.
and we,
Okay,
we don't
okay.
we don't technically know why Wanda chose this town. So there's still plenty of questions without answers, guys. There's still plenty out there we haven't actually touched on that that is still not answered. But I'm excited. I haven't seen the episode length shared yet, so I'm not sure if it's gonna be a long one.
For the
I
next one or
Yeah, for the next one.
mm.
Um, but I do know that Paul Bettany mentioned that there's just some real MCU blockbuster level stuff going on in the last two. So
Fantastic.
it's gonna all hit the fan at some point. We're gonna see some serious conflicts happening here. Someone in chat did mention that they think this is going to be the point where another Avenger comes in or some other someone else to mediate beyond what we see here. I know originally we were talking about Captain Marvel at one point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if someone like a Captain Marvel did show up, who are you putting your money on? Because we've seen that she's clearly pretty powerful herself, and then we had the little chit chat, between Monica and them talking about how Wanda did stop Thanos. Well, Captain Marvel was pretty good too. Do you think we get a showdown? If we did, who would you put your money on? Who do you think would win?
I don't know. That's tough, man.
Cause I
Yeah,
can
I don't
see her
know.
flying
I don't
in,
know.
breaking the sound barrier, flying through the hex with her cosmic powers, smacking Wanda in the face with a little bit, just hit her with a couple blasts.
I'm like trying to think of just like the most obscure person that you can throw in there, and I'm just trying to go back into my head and who they can show somebody small that nobody would think of, like like a West Coast Avenger member or something like that, or hell,
Yeah,
like just start introducing the other young Avengers.
yeah. I mean that's true. We got quite a few popping up pretty soon. We still have Monica, who maybe the twist is that Monica is going to be the one to get some serious power upgrades enough to challenge Wanda.
Oh yeah, I mean, going into the Hex one more time, what is that going to do to her?
Yeah, you got those molecules are already getting flipped and flipped around in a few different ways now,
Exactly. Yep.
and maybe she has what Wanda needs to kind of get out of the situation, which would really make Monica, you know, a pretty high level hero to start off her origin story. It'd be pretty nice to see. I'd be happy with that. I think.
That'd be great. Another female lead superhero, a black female superhero. It's great.
Would it be Reality Stone versus Space Stone? Well, I mean, I guess. No, I mean Captain Marvel is still pretty powerful anyway, and it's more of like I mean, Mind Stone. Wanda's whole thing has been even Pietro mentions it, he's like, yeah, he controlled a couple people, gave him nightmares. Now it's only you control an entire town. What happened? Like, there's some big changes
That
there.
part, Nightmare. That's a good one too. Spec there on Nightmare.
Yeah, people have really been thinking that Nightmare will be like the big bad for Doctor Strange too. If there's some
Mm.
kind of tie in there, um, which I could see. Maybe a return of Blackheart or something like that.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Or we discussed last week, just start throwing in them Fox properties, trickle them in little by little.
It's interesting how hype we were for like the Pietro reveal,
Hmm.
and then how like quickly it shifted from like the X-Men. you know, like
Yeah,
after
no,
after
for
after
sure.
seeing Pietro like and seeing like how he reacts, like I get no X-Men vibes at all anymore. It's like it's clearly something else is happening in
Yeah.
this situation. They're just being toyed with. It's a nice tie-in though.
Speaking of tie-ins, one of my favorite Easter egg was how Evan Peters was like, he said like kick ass, and then like ran off with the kids, and then she goes kick ass. I thought that was hilarious, dude. Because both Aaron Johnson and Evan Peters were in that movie.
Yeah, it was a nice touch. I like that too. See, it seems like they're definitely having fun with the show, and I like when shows feel fun and they feel like the cast had fun. You know,
Yeah.
it just feels good, even though it's dark material they're dealing with. But like, there's a lot of fun being had on the show. You get into sitcoms, like references to old sitcoms, and it's being done so well. Like the Malcolm in the Middle is just spot on, man. Like the cuts and the
Even
segues.
even Billy like talking to the camera every so often too. I mean,
Yeah,
that's pure Malcolm.
and them like doing the Dances Revolution
Oh
in the
yeah.
other
Did
scene.
you notice that he was wearing tiger whatchamacallit, like slippers or whatever.
Yeah, that was some good stuff, man. Marvel, you're impressing me. We'll see how they do, around award season. If we get any special nods, but all right. I think that was a nice rundown, a nice recap of WandaVision episode 6.
I tell you what, they're not gonna get anything for costume design after that terrible Vision outfit.
But it's so cheesy that I can see Wanda like really getting into that. I can see her like really going for that though. And she was all like,
Yeah,
we want to have Halloween as a family. And what are you doing? It's their first Halloween. I can see the cheese. I see why she was going for that. But yeah, thank
awesome.
you all for joining us for this episode. And thank you, Vaughn, as well, for coming through and
Absolutely, man.
bringing in the insight. It's been a lot of fun. We're
Yeah,
definitely
looking forward to next week.
yeah, next week. I can only imagine, man. Like what's going to be happening here. We got so many characters in play. I'm
Yep.
excited for sure. But I'm gonna give Vaughn some love in the chat. Make sure you guys check him out on Twitch and on Twitter. Get
Yeah,
some hot
appreciate it.
takes. You know.
If you guys are into any comic book fans in the chat, I run a YouTube channel as well. There can be only Vaughn, same name, where I discuss my weekly pickups, and I'm doing more so of a deep dive into my collection as well. So those videos will trickle out too. You're going to see a lot of books referenced from this show in those key issues that I talked about on YouTube. So if that's your bag, be sure to check it out.
That'd be maybe we should do like maybe we'll do an episode after the season's over, and we can see
Mhm.
like if there's any other books that got referenced or pulled into the story by the end.
Oh,
Uh,
for sure. Each week, just listening to other people talk about theories and whatnot, I'm trying to look to see if I have those books. Like I did last week, I had House of M and the Vision 2014 Tom King run to showcase. But there's a lot of other ones that I do have that can be like, hey, here's a nod in this one, and here's a nod over in this one, and so on and so forth. So
all right, well, sounds good. Man, it's been a lot of fun doing these. Man, then we got basically like 2 weeks off, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier starts up. You
I
know,
know, and then we're just gonna talk about that too. But that one's a little longer, right? Because it's only 4 parts, and it's like what, hour-long episodes or something like that.
it's 6 episodes, and I think they are longer. I'm not sure if they're a full hour or if they're like 45 minutes, but they're definitely a different time format than this show is.
Okay, okay, yeah,
We'll see if they have like 8 minutes of credits on at the end, like like this show does every episode. And I see that 36-minute runtime it only ends up being like 31. But yeah, it should
gotcha.
be pretty cool. I'm sure there'll be some interviews
Looking
with
forward.
the cast too when we get closer to the release. We can
Yep,
dive
yep.
into.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
All right, y'all. Thank you all for joining us. It's been a blast. Hope you enjoyed the recap. We'll be doing it again next week with episode 7. And that's all I got for you. Get on out of here.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Danny.
See ya.
Yeah, that Blue Marvel thing threw me off, dude. Oh shit. It's cool to see Artifact jump in there. All right, I gotta let my roommate. Apparently, I got